Back at it. Jim and Lucas here with Athlete Builder. I'm in the library. Lucas on site up in Fort Wayne. We got Kayln Sticher. We call her Stitch. And she comes through us through the now becoming the 𝗦𝗼𝗀𝗶𝗹 Athlete Builder Network. Courtesy of Chad Coy. He had him on the show. We also had Bill Parisi, Eric Mitchell, Sam Toner, blah, blah, blah. And then from Missouri, Dr. Como, Dr. Pat Ivy. So we've had a lot of heavy hitters from Missouri University, from Parisi. So high expectations today for Stitch. Want to put it out there that anything short of that level, probably not getting invited back. So background is that athletics, played a lot of them growing up, has coached even more of them. Background in nutrition, psychology, so she can get in your head and why you're eating crap, but find out the real reasons behind that. Right off the bat, we were talking before we started about pro sports, and like any good strength coach, sports performance coach, nutritionist, she likes sports like we do. So, Stitch, yay or nay on Caitlin Clark?
No, yay.
Yeah? How
Yay,
come?
yay.
How come?
Man, that girl's deadly.
Right?
I mean, any spot on the court, doesn't matter where it's at. She can also drive, too. She keeps that in her arsenal. Every now and then, she likes to take it down the lane, finish strong.
But she's got a little Magic Johnson in there too, where she can feed people.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
The good no looks, the
Right?
dishes, yep, the alley-oop.
The court awareness is significant, and since Lucas and I are, Indiana guys, so we're obviously you want to cheer for the home team, right?
Yeah.
Now you played college basketball, you played some college volleyball as well until it was a little too much. Played other sports, you coach other sports. Um, if you were in the WNBA, who would you want to play for?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I would have to say the Phoenix Mercury, though. I'm a big time Diana Taurasi fan
Mm,
from way back in the days, good old UConn.
right.
So probably Phoenix Mercury wouldn't be too bad. I spent some time in Arizona as well, up in Flagstaff, so it was a little bit right down the road. So yeah, wouldn't mind Phoenix Mercury. That'd be a good spot.
And then you can have one of the two. There's two of the following options you have. You can only pick one: Olympic title, women's basketball, or WNBA title, women's basketball.
Oh, Olympic.
Why?
I just think being able to represent your country and to be known as one of the best in the entire country, in the world, uh, is an achievement that not many will ever have the opportunity to get.
Gotcha. Yes, I thought about that myself. I'm like NBA title. Of course, I want to be for Cleveland since I'm from Cleveland, or the Olympics, Yeesh. Hometown, or the whole Olympics. I don't know, man. Being from Cleveland and I win a title for them, I'm gonna be like, and they're making statues of me then. But the Olympics is pretty sweet. If we're football, like or an Olympic title, I'd say that I want to play for the Browns and win a Super Bowl, mostly because it's never going to happen. um, so you get drafted by the Phoenix Mercury, first round, or you're on stage, right? And you're walking out in whatever kind of you're, you're not quite the 19, 20-year-old kid that gets drafted now, but assuming that you're 20 years old version of Stitch, what's the song that's going to be playing when you walk out?
Ooh. Um, I Look Good by Charlie Boy.
All right,
That would be what it would be.
there it is. Solid. See Lucas already nodding his head.
Yeah. Hey.
So a little bit about Stitch. Season, what she wrote here, and she's absolutely accurate. Athletic performance coach, plus a sports nutritionist, decades of work. She played for Northern Arizona University. She's affiliated with University of Missouri now. She worked at Baylor, Texas A&M, University of Louisiana. So she's been all around, worked with a lot of folks in a lot of different sports, not just basketball, so football, track and field, baseball, tennis, gymnastics, swimming, etc. Also is the founder of Fuel Performance Nutrition. And to boot, she's one of the nutrition coaches at a CrossFit gym locally, CrossFit Fringe. And so whether it's getting your middle school or high school kids move better, move faster, be stronger, she can do that. If it's working with adults to perform at a higher level athletically in college, she can do that. If it's figuring out how to optimize some basic shitty eating habits, you can do that. Or if it's more high end, you want to get more serious about things, maybe you're diabetic or you're postpartum and she wants to dive into things about after bariatric surgery, she can get in there too. Plus, she had a little bit of psychology background to boot, so she can get in your head and find out why you're a whack job like I am. So you roll all that together. She's also with a �奧𝗲𝗍 Speed School. You have Kaylin Stitcher. So, Stitch, thanks for being on the show today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me, Jim. It's an honor.
Mm. Well, we got to thank Chad for that, and Chad Coy, and he, I always message him and others when I get a referral, and I say, give me a story where we can blindside her with, and
Oh
he
gosh.
sucked, and he didn't do that, right? So I'm really disappointed because
Oh,
it's kind of fun. So since Chad didn't, well, this is your chance for me to you can out him right now. So if you got a story for Chad that he's not expecting, it's gonna be on the air right now. We'll make a clip out of it and we'll put it out there and say this is what you get, Chad. Since I asked you and you didn't help me out, this is what happens. This is your reward for non-compliance.
oh man. I think we should always do like a favorite Chad moment. Those are
Okay,
always great.
let's hear
Favorite
it.
Chad moment. I think he was trying out a wheelchair in the court, making sure it had nice grip. He was going around and coaching up people in a wheelchair, and I was like, oh my gosh, only Chad would be doing this right now,
Hmm.
yelling in the wheelchair, and the kids were loving it. I mean, the kids were having a heyday. I mean, these are middle school, high school kids that he's had for since they were in Pee-wee, like Pee-wee, and just like growing up through the program. They're like riding on the wheelchair with him doing wheelies, him trying to get through doors. So, I mean, nothing stops him. So that right there is the point. He's had a couple surgeries. We always tell him he's old man Coy. But
Right?
he's quite the legend over here at the �奧𝗲𝗍 Speed School, and he doesn't let anything hold him back. So it was that type of moment for the kids. All as it was funny, it was also pretty surreal. So good Chad memories.
If you
We
haven't
miss him.
If you haven't seen Chad or you're just listening, you try to envision what he looks like. Picture the Juggernaut from X-Men series from Marvel that just can run through things. He's not overly tall, maybe 5'9", and he's built like this fire hydrant. And he's my age. He's in his 50s, right?
Yeah.
And so all traps and shoulders and back, and just a tank, and just kind of just when he's moving forward on anything, bang, right? Just no stopping it.
Yep. Nope.
So he's on his way to speak at the Swiss conference with Cannon, I think it is, maybe a year or two ago. And so he's heading from Missouri. He's heading east to where this big conference. He's one of the speakers. He stops off at my gym to get a lift in, and he's got like his some other lifters with him as well. They're going to the conference, going to learn, but also help him out. So they're all legit people doing powerlifting, strongman. There's all strong people. Then there's Chad, who's a tank. And so they're getting this lift session on. It's outside of normal hours with us, so the gym is pretty empty. And then people start to trickle in, and now they're all done lifting. He spent like 3 hours to do like 4 or 5 sets, right? He has all the Tiger Bomb on and all the gear and all the wraps and did all that stuff. And so he keeps working harder. He works up to some heavy stuff. He's moving big weight. And so now it's over with, and they're all kind of shutting down, going to get in the car and take off. Well, he decides he's going to change right there. Now we have restrooms where people can change. He's out, just going to change right here. So he strips down to almost nothing. He's got maybe a pair of like compression shorts on, maybe like that you would see in the pool, at Beijing with Michael Phelps. These tiny little ones, and he's like me. He's like a carpet on his chest and back, like I am. I'm wearing a sweater of all just huge ripple tank of muscles. And he's just getting changed, just talking to everybody, walk around almost butt naked in his underwear, just, hey man, I'm Chad Goy, how you doing? Shaking your hand, nice to meet you. Because he's always nice and personable, right? Sure
Yeah.
is.
Oh, always.
Well, he didn't care, just almost butt naked. And then he just gets changed, and then they all pile in his car, and they take off to the next event where he's speaking the next weekend. So that's a story that I don't know most people have heard from my gym or people from the show that, but love Chad to death. He's been a great mentor, been a great colleague, great friend, and he's an expert in this space. So we're lucky to actually know him. So all in good
Yes.
fun, Chad.
All good.
All good. All right. So one of the things I wrote down, we like to talk in advance. Hey, what do you want to talk about? And so this is huge, right? Creating high performance teams that include multiple departments to create systems and protocols that provide the best overall care. That should be like on the back of a, marketing novel. Breaking down silos, she said. So, high performance teams, multiple departments, protocols, and overall care. Talk about a high performance team you guys have worked with, whether it's middle school or high school, and talk about what things you're doing to break down silos. If you had a big pile of cash and you had your own building set up however you liked, you need staff it however you want. Talk about some ways to maximize, working with student athletes, because that's the crux of this show. That's what we do here.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of the time, I always like to talk about my bloodline, right? So it's like horses, as you know, or I told Jim earlier, I really like horses. So it's kind of like the pedigree, where you come from, who you're mentored by. And I've had the honor of working with some greats in the field, and that comes with the evolution of time as well. Like times change, and you have to adapt and adjust to the times. And honestly, like we're talking about athletes that they're not only touching the weight room, like they're touching academics, they're touching psychology, they're touching sports nutrition, they're touching potentially therapy, like physical therapy. They might be, you know, growing a business on the side. Like you're working with a human, one. And I think a lot of the times is when we're talking about breaking down silos, we are our experts in our field, right? Like we in the weight room, come to us. But when it comes to anything that might be outside that, there might be overlap, but it's always really good to get a perspective that you may not have, that helps you build the better protocol for the student athlete. So, for example, I work with middle school and high schoolers predominantly now, which is way different than college. College, you pretty much know the teams that are touching them, right? You can go and check in with psychology, you can go check in with athletic trainers, you can go check in with physical therapists, you can go check in with their sport coach. But when it comes to middle school and high school, we're talking, they go to school, they're doing maybe extracurriculars, 3 other sports. And by the time they come and see you, you may be the last part of their day before they go home and eat dinner. There's just a lot of uncontrollable factors, which then you're actually teaching through the kid more so. You want to educate them to allow them to expand in these areas and then try to bring those pieces to you. So for example, I had a kid a football player, running back, who broke his ankle. And he was obviously just like any 13, 14-year-old, like wants to play football, wants to stand out, wants to do a great job for his team, for his family, getting up into the high school. So that big transition from middle school to high school, and wants to stand out. But for me, if I really wanted to, I could be like, oh, I'm going to do this, this, and this. But he was actually working with physical therapy, who was also going to the doctors every month or so for checkups. And the best thing I could do was to take a step back and say, okay, tell me what your doctor was mentioning to you. Tell me where the pain is. What are you doing? Do you have a phone number? Could I contact them? Let them know they can contact me. It's just being able to bridge it to where it's the best interest of the athlete, and to know where the mechanism lies, right? And then making sure you're not overdoing one thing or the other. As we know, all of us on here, being a performance coach, there is a little prehab element to things. There's a lot of recovery modalities that we can kind of overlap on, but doing too much of one thing doesn't mean it's going to create any benefit. So I think that's the biggest thing is always being able, I always like to say, like, being able to park your ego in a room that you're trying to learn from, like you're gaining understanding, but also bring your expertise to the table when it's time. Because that's a big piece of like making sure that they have confidence in what the kids are doing under your realm, and under your scope of practice, and then being able to educate them through it.
We had Anthony Schlegel on, and he's works for this. I can't remember the name. Maybe it's called the Arsenal. It's right outside of Columbus, Indiana, or Columbus, Ohio, and it's outstanding. But it has everything that you're saying. So it has the weight room, it has the track, but it has the chiropractors, it has nutritionists, it has everything you want for the Normatechs, but you also have MDs right there. Special, knee specialists right there, masseuses right there. So the whole facility is like a little mini college because those colleges, university, athletes, they have all those resources together, to offer. They provide this one facility. That way you're not going for your speed work over there, and your chiropractor over there, and your nutritionist over there, and then your supplements, and then your hormone replacement. It's all at one place. So I think that would be ideal. For students that are listening to this, here's what I would say. You're probably not used to speaking up as much. So when you go to
Yep.
your coach, or maybe go to Stitch or Luke or me, for extra work,
Yep.
offer, hey, this is what I did today. This is what I did yesterday. This is how I'm feeling. I just saw the doctor. They said this. I was told that I need to work on my mobility. Communicate and advocate for yourself so that the coach can have more information and data and coach you better. If you're a coach and your kid comes into you, whatever grade he's in or in whatever role, maybe it's from an outside facility, ask, hey, did you train somewhere else last night? Are you training somewhere? Have you been to the doctor? We talked about, you have some problems with your feet, maybe it's plantar fasciitis. What's going on? So the coach has to constantly ask. So when kids come to me, they already may have trained at the high school. I
Yep.
gotta ask, hey, what's your plan this week? Are you guys lifting this week? Are you guys not so much? One kid plays sports, but he doesn't go through APC, so he comes to me for all his strength and conditioning. Whereas someone else who already does that, I'm just looking to tweak and augment on the side. But if the coach can ask or the kid can offer, then you got a shot, right?
Yep.
If you forget to do that, then we're just going forward. And you, like you said, you might squat at school and then squat in the same day, but the kid won't speak up, and then now you're squatting two times in one day. And we're not strong like 𝗀𝗲𝗱𝗀𝗀, so we can't squat twice in a day. You know, we can't do that Bulgarian method all the time like he does.
Oh. Oh.
But that's really my advice there. If you can bridge that gap, then you got a shot. Luke, you have the same scenario at school, right? You got kids that go to other places to train. What have you found to be helpful?
Yeah, so I got a lot of kids that do like their football. It's more sports specific training that they do at these other facilities. It's really kind of hard for me to navigate too because I know that they do some strength and conditioning over there. It's more aerobic based strength and conditioning, you could say. So it really just comes down to communication for me and kind of talking to them. I know which athletes are doing it. I just communicate with them and say, hey, what's going on over there? Hey, you got this going on here. You got your sports specific drills and your wide receiver drills and stuff. So talk to them, see how they feel, and I just kind of modify from there. I try to communicate and say, hey, because I want our teams to be training together at our school. I think every strength coach that works in a school that works with teams and directly with the sport coaches wants their teams together year round, training together. So, that's what we emphasize is making sure you're at least doing the strength work that we do here. We probably do, 80% strength work, 20% speed work. Most of our kids are undersized and they're not very strong. So that's one of the weaknesses we got to focus on. So we spend a lot of time in the weight room and emphasize that it needs to be done at the school. And they've done a really good job with that the past couple of years, getting better. Coaches have gotten better at getting their kids in the weight room and saying this is the priority of your training. All of that needs to be extra. So it's just communication for me. I don't necessarily talk to the other facilities around that. I don't necessarily talk to them about what it is their kids are doing. I know what they're doing. The kids show me what they're doing, and I modify what I have to modify when I have to modify it. And usually that comes around in January whenever the travel teams start picking up and their 7-on-7s and stuff like that. So we got a little bit of time before that happens. So
When we have like newer kids, middle school, come in to my gym and they haven't done much at all with weights, or even some high school kids, they've never touched it before. My approach is build some farm boy strength basics, carries, squat, deadlift, press, pull-ups, but carries and a lot of sleds, things that don't take a lot of thinking. So because if they're at the bottom, like I've had people that come that couldn't squat the bar, the knees are caving in. Tennis player, she couldn't come. Her first day squatting was a 26 kettlebell on her front, right? So if you can, my philosophy is that for the first couple years, if I can build some basics there, we get a little more technical with the bar. We get a little more technical with some footwork, with some speed. But if you can't do some of those basic farm boy things, then it doesn't matter. I really get you that. If I get you lined up correctly, you got nothing behind it, right? Talk about, you said you've worked at the college level, but you're working with middle school and high school kids now. Someone comes to you and they're brand new.
Hmm.
Talk about, hey, you're not going to be squatting 2 times body weight in 12 months, probably, right?
No.
Talk about, hey, setting expectations and telling the parent and the kid, this is what, if you can come and train consistently, this is how and what we're trying to build with you.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my biggest things is most of the time when a kid has not ever entered a weight room, the weight room is overwhelming to them. So like they don't know what to touch. They don't know how to put a collar on a bar. They don't know where they should pull the weight from. They're very hesitant. And so I do a lot of educating of like, from the very basics, if you need me, call for me. There's no stupid question, regardless of what it might be. Or if you feel like it is, like grab my attention, especially if I'm in a group. But most of the time when I have someone that's new, it's me one-on-one with them. But it's just to go through the basics. Like, this is your barbell. These are your dumbbells. Here are your collars. These are always on the bar. We need to make sure we have a spotter, that someone is here by you if we're doing bench, back squat, even especially at the early phases. So you get familiar with it. We clean up our weights when we're done. We leave it better than we find it. There's chalk, like letting them know what chalk is used for if they need it. If they're super sweaty from being nervous, can make things a little bit more difficult. But yeah, I do a lot of the rundown from the very basics from the very beginning. And then we kind of go through like how you conduct yourself too. Just make sure you respect the weight room. There's no spitting on the floor. There's no gum, putting gum. There's no eating, like in the middle of the floor, leaving your food around the weight room. Like basic, if trash is on the floor and I find it, that's not good. It's not good for anybody. Yep. So it's like, pick up your trash, put it in the trash can, like easy things. I like to call them like behavioral things, like awareness, weight room awareness, allows you to have a better lift. And those that are around you, I also tell them too, like, make sure you don't walk right through a class. Like if there's classes going, like make sure we walk around, be respectful. So we cover those basics, and that's not even to the barbell yet, right? Like right. That's already like, whoa, there's so much going on, paying attention. But just like you said, basic mechanics, I'm a huge mechanical, I like watching movement, right? We all get familiar with watching movement, like knees are going in, back's caving, chest is falling, ankles are stiff. But it's going through standard movement. I'm a go-toer for a goblet squat. Even like our basic trap bar deadlift is a really good body positioning, being able to use them with some training plates, just getting them in that low position, but keeping it neutral so it's not pulling them forward or pulling them back. Using dumbbells to learn how to stabilize in the first place. Basic running mechanics, like your running mechanics, using wall runs, getting familiar with actually putting force into the ground. Those are all things that we progress, and how I progress them is just like you said, we tackle the basics, the very, very basics, because outside of that, you're actually you're taking like 5 steps backwards, right? And then you could actually be creating more problems than, building strength or building speed. So learning how to push force in the ground. A lot of the times too, I don't start with Olympic movements. I'll do basic, like if we're learning how to vertical jump, it'll be plyometrics, like learning how to land, learning how to do low level plyos, learning how to do some dumbbell squat jumps, like things that actually provide a little bit of weight without your arms, like being able to push through the ground. Things like that really show them how to produce force. And then they progress, after a couple of years to start doing some pulls. We got our basic pulls. First, you have your shrug, your high pulls. You can do those with dumbbells as well. Just teaching them those small little nooks and crannies, because we also want to keep them interested, right? I always like to call it like, be creative with your programming, but keep the same principle. Is that make it look different, but it still has the same application. So it keeps them, not bored. They want to compete, get them in places where they can compete safely. and then create that ownership too, and education while they're training. So definitely a huge fan of back to the basics and building that strong foundation, because that's the core principle for any and all lifts.
That's really the kind of the principle for almost anything. Like I've been to symphonies and people are warming up with just doing basic scales, right?
Yeah.
It's doing the basics so well. And going over time and again, just a regular squat. Like Vince Lombardi started every football season after having won titles with, "This is a football." That's his opening sentence to camp. "This is a football." And he goes over the basics of how to do everything. What makes it one of the ways we mess with the kids unintentionally, we have pound plates in the gym and we also have kilo plates. So I tell them to grab the 25s and you're like, "Man, this just feels pretty heavy. That's red, that's 25 kilos." And then it's like, oh man. Sometimes they don't even know what the restroom is. And I'm like, oh boy, okay. So I'll ask, "Hey, what's the most common injury we find here at the gym with our student athletes?" And he'll probably say, "My back, this and that." I said, "Usually it's how you put your plates back and you kind of smash your finger." And they go, "Really?" I go, "Happens all the time. You're not paying attention." So everything that you and I take for granted is like a little nuance that it's decades to cram all that information into them. You talk about being overwhelmed. People are looking at me. How am I performing? Am I doing this right, coach? Do I look silly next to other kids? Is this? And then it's like, is this weak? Is it not weak? There's so much psychology going on there, and I got to be like, "Kid, just follow me. I got you. Take a deep breath.
Yep.
We're gonna have a good time today. We're gonna have a good time today. We're gonna get a little bit better today. Have a good time."
Yep, absolutely.
So I see here your resume, Missouri, Texas A&M, big programs. And let's say you're at Alabama and you're with Coach Saban. It's hard to get that A program to any level, but he is at this elite championship level. So now the real challenge is, can you move it at the margins, right? But the standard's already pretty high. No one's late to practice, right? No one's skipping team meeting. You're starting over. You're starting with younger kids now, travel athletes. They're not at the Nick Saban level, right? But you gotta like build this culture of accountability before they can even be all in mentally. Talk about how you build a culture from brand new kids, because every year there's turnover. Like kids move on, kids graduate, kids leave, right? Talk about building that accountability. And I want to hear from Lucas, because he had to do it in an inner city school where they had no program before. Like day one had less than 50 kids show up all day. Now he sees hundreds daily, right? So talk about building some accountability and those things culturally with young student athletes, and then we'll hear from Lucas too.
Okay, yeah. So I think it comes down to like your core principles from a coaching perspective, right? So like, for us, a lot of the times it's enthusiasm, effort, ownership. I'm a big on ownership. Being able to like your work hard mentality, but also work smart. So it kind of, and this is different everywhere you go. So state to state, school to school, each environment is very different. So sometimes you have to conform it to what's realistic, right? What is realistic in your environment, and setting expectations that meet them where they're at, that they can actually do, not setting them up for failure. So like for me, I'm just going to use like as an example, like there's a standard that every person that I train knows what to do from when they walk into the weight room. They go foam roll, they get their band work done, they hop on the bike. So like they have ownership in their warm up. That means they're connecting. I check in with them. I do checkpoints. Hey, how was school? What have you eaten today? How much have you hydrated? How was your sleep? Not completely bombarding them with questions. It's different in a college environment. You only have a certain set of time, right? When they're in the weight room, it is fire. These expectations are already there. The expectations that you've created, again, different everywhere you go, but there's certain sound principles, like everyone can bring some effort. Everyone can bring some enthusiasm. Helping each teammate, like building up your teammates, not bringing them down. Like sometimes you use acronyms. I've used different acronyms every place that I've been. So I'd like to say that it's been slightly different everywhere, but the standard of expectations of just like your basics of ownership, enthusiasm, Sometimes leadership is in there, but that's something that isn't just born. It's something that you instill and you provide intrinsic motivation, or you help them learn intrinsic motivation. Accountability, coachability, effort. Those are all things that could be standard. But then it's kind of what you build your program from there. So setting the cultural expectations of what you want and then holding them to it. There's nothing worse than you changing it every day, having, no follow-up. If something isn't right and it's not hitting the culture, like the cultural standards, call it out. Teach them to call it out. Like, this is what, they know the discipline. Like, discipline, I think, is used in so many different ways nowadays. Nothing is wrong with discipline. Like, being disciplined is a piece of being a good teammate. Like, knowing your role, knowing what you bring to the team every day. So creating that discipline, not only from coach to athlete, but from peers, like peers amongst peers. That's where the best teams develop from. And then you're building those championship habits from there. Accountability, being able to follow through, being able to have real conversations. Like, some of my best athletes that ever came out, it wasn't easy, right? Like, you always want the yes, like, oh yes, like, put plates on. They listen to everything that you say and do. But some of the ones that challenge you to be a better coach, they become one of the greatest athletes because they push the limits. Not saying that there's like pros and cons, but don't ever, like, I guess my biggest thing is, like, don't give up on a culture just because something may not be working right then and there. You may not ever see it until you have that aha moment, like, oh my gosh, like, after 7 months, I'm finally seeing it, right? And I'm sure Lucas can touch on that. Like, you might be saying the same thing every day for days on days, and you're just like, it's not clicking. This is not working. This is just not working. Do I need to change it? Maybe they just don't understand, or am I not doing it right? Or is this too much? Or, like, you start to question yourself. But the best thing for an athlete to see and for a culture to be built is consistency, because that is what actually creates the change. And it may take 2 months and it may take a whole year, depending on where you're at and the support you have from top down. Because most of the time in the weight room, like, you want to make sure you have support systems around, especially from like ATC sport coaches. Like, they too also need to know the culture. Like, when you step in this weight room, there's no jewelry, there's no headphones, there's no gum. I want team gear only. I want enthusiasm. I want team support. Like, you're letting the sport coaches know, you're letting administration know, like, this is the standard in the weight room, not only because this is what we're instilling in our athletes, but this is what we're expecting. And then from there, each team is so different too. Like, football is going to have different core values than volleyball, and volleyball is going to have different core values than track and field is going to have different core values in wrestling. But you can support those core values also in the weight room when each of those teams come in. So, like, by team breakdowns, by, team unity exercises that you might do, competition that you might do, any of those things where you're instilling those core values for the team, but they also know the basic function in the weight room. Like, they know what the expectations are set there. I think that that's a big thing. And if you have a small staff or a large staff, making sure your staff is on the same page. That's another big one, is like, once your staff grows, that means there's more management of people, and making sure that not one of them is deviating from the expectations of the weight room, right? Like, in creating their own on, like, expectations and things that are not centered locally in the weight room for every other team. And then they start making different things for, then you have the whole volleyball gets to do this. Why don't we get to do that? And you're like, oh no, don't worry about that. We'll take care of that. So I like to call it the tattletale system when it gets to that point. But most of the time, I've been in places, like every place, and we've always, that the weight room, we know what to expect in there. And everybody that's in the supportive structures know too. And I think that's a big deal. And I try to instill that in the middle school and high school kids for the things that I can control. They know what to expect when they train with Stich, right? And when they're at 𝗻𝗄𝗄, like, they know how to behave. They know what the standard is when they get into the weight room. We don't wear flops. We might do barefoot, but we're not wearing our flops. Then, foam roll, band work, bike, and then we start a dynamic warm up. So
nice.
Go ahead, Lucas, take it away. Sorry, long-winded.
No, that's all right. That's great. For me, it was Very tough in the beginning, partially because all my experience was primarily working with colleges and mostly college football. When I took this job up here working with the high school, I previously was working at Illinois State. So, I'm coming right off of working with college football guys that are driven, that you tell them what to do, they do it. And it's, it's pretty typical college strength and conditioning. And that's kind of the persona that I had. And coming in working with high school kids, and not only working with high school kids, but working inner city high school with kids. We got 2,000 kids in the building, and we only have 50 athletes in the strength class. So there was no culture. I would say there was negative culture. There was a bad culture, and how they treated the weight room, the expectations of what I was trying to set in play. For me, when I first got there, I learned really, really quick that I was going to have to adapt, and quite honestly change who I was as a coach in order to get what I needed out of them, or to get any kind of compliance at all. I've never in my life had kids just cuss me out because they didn't want to do a warm up before. And that was really new to me. So I really had to adapt. I came in with, hyper structured. We're going to do this to the T, this and this. And I was shocked that I couldn't get any kid to line up behind the line, because quite frankly, they just thought it was bullshit. And it took a while for me to get used to that. I had to change who I was. I kind of had to realize where I was at and take a step back. And you nailed it on the head when you talked about expectations. My expectations were so high because of where I've previously worked and what I've done. I had to lower my expectations just a little bit above maybe where they were at, or even put it to where they're at, just so I could bump them up. And then, hey, this is our new baseline. Bump them up. This is our new baseline. Hey, we can actually come in here and complete a warm up without anybody crashing out, So it was, can I get the kids out and dressed on time? Can I get them wearing shoes? Can I get them in their warm up lines? Can we get through the warm up lines? Can I get them into the weight room? And once I got to a point of where I could start instructing and teaching workouts and teaching movements and stuff like that, I had to take a step back, because our kids didn't necessarily, you had to earn their trust. You had to earn, you just didn't get their trust and respect because you're the new strength coach. And, in a position where I was, I'm the new guy. I'm a minority in where I work. They didn't care who I was, where I was from, and what I did. So I had to earn their trust and earn their respect, get to know them on a level that I didn't think, like, I had to know who they were, where they come from, what are the struggles that they had to go through, because they're completely different than what I grew up with. So I had to understand that before I could really start to build a program. So it took a year, it took 2 years to really get any kind of foundation set, because I had to dig us out of a hole. And part of that was adapting and understanding who I was as a coach. And I had to be that kind of coach that they needed at the time. As we kept getting better and better each year, we've just gotten more kids involved, better each year. Then I could start implementing the expectations and standards that I want them to understand when they come in the weight room. This is what you're going to do. This is what the expectation is. This is how you dress. This is how you operate. This is how you leave the locker room when you leave strength and conditioning. This is, you put the bars back, everything. You pretty much hit everything on the dot with all that. But my path to get there was completely different, because I had to change my way of thinking. I had to change my entire approach to even get to zero. And as it's gotten better and better each year, getting more coaches involved, getting administration involved, trying to build a little bit of unity, because where I was at, there was no school spirit. There was no unity. Every team was its own thing. Every coach had their own identity. There was no identity in the athletic department. There wasn't no schools. The kids weren't going and supporting other programs and doing all this stuff. They weren't doing, what a typical high school would be doing, that maybe Jim went to or I went to or whatever. They didn't have that. So in order to create that, we've use the weight room. Is my screen super bright?
Sometimes.
You're like glowing from the heavens.
Okay. But what I've been using the weight room as a tool to create unity amongst our athletic department and our athletic program, saying, hey, look, this is the standard expectation, and this is kind of a sports culture. When you walk in this weight room, we got football players in here, we got basketball players, girls flag, volleyball, we got it all. So this is kind of how we need to operate as Northside, as athletes, and this is how we're going to treat this weight room. And then, for me, I would expect you to do the same thing. Maybe my expectations aren't the same as your sport coach, but when you come in here, there's a standard and there's a way we're going to do things. Because one, if we can't operate at this level, then it's a safety hazard and liability. And I'm telling you right now, my first year, I was freaking out left and right that some kid was going to get hurt. I couldn't teach back squats for 6 months because I couldn't trust him. Right. So I had to take a step back and say, hey, we're going to do this we're going to do goblet squats. We're going to do lunges, or we're going to teach I had to learn how to teach the basics, and I had to learn how to teach the basics to kids that's never been in the weight room. I'm talking 100 kids that's never trained before. So that made me a better coach because I had to really, really teach, as opposed to, hey, this is how you do an RDL. Watch me do it. And now they know how to do it. I had to get kids to feel positions and understand positions and rep it over and over and over and over for them to get it. Fast forward 5 years, I went from having 50 kids in the weight room. Now I probably see 400 a day. I got an entire football team in there, and they all understand expectations. And, I still got to corral them sometimes, and the problems that I had aren't gone. The problems that these kids had aren't gone. It's just now we've been able to coach kids through these things, and help them navigate how to be a young adult. So, and it took a lot of help too. It took coaches buying in. It took administration buying in. And it came down to being consistent every day. I would harp on things every single day, and they like to say I'm gassing it all the time. Oh, coach is gassing it again. Coach is gassing it because I found gum again. Now he's gassing it. He's gassing it because I ain't got a spotter, but I can lift this weight. Well, it's, just like what we're going through now with some of our freshmen right now. I'm not letting kids go up weight or add any weight until I see them practicing spotting, practicing good technique. And quite frankly, that's just, we're too far along now that I can't go backwards and allow this stuff to happen. Right. So, we are able to create the culture, create the expectation, and now we can really stick to our guns and hold true to it. But it took some time to get there, and it took a lot of pain, a little bit, a lot of loss of hair. To be honest with you, but we're getting there, and we get better. We've gotten better every single year I've been there, and in a school like I work at, it's, I get a brand new group of kids. My group last year, from all my classes, my first through seventh period is not the same from this group of kids in strength and conditioning. We've worked really, really hard to get kids consistent in there, taking the class year after year, and we've gotten better at that. We keep getting more and more athletes. This year is different from last year because I got a lot of new athletes that's never been in there. A lot of new kids from different teams that's never took strength and conditioning. I got 20 more soccer players than I did last year in the strength class. So, I got to teach them how to lift. And now I got a mix of kids that haven't lifted, kids that's been lifting for 2-3 years. So,
that's always the deal. That's the deal.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite is they don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care. That concept of you may say the same thing over and over, but you're paying attention. And I think like for a lot of kids, like that's always something is that they know. I've always said like, you should be more nervous when I stop coaching you.
Yeah.
Like when I stop coaching you, that's when like, I don't care to watch you anymore. I've been trying to help you. I've been trying to, push you to be better than what you think you can be. So I think a lot of that concept, and then like what you were saying, that mix of brand new and like almost vetted, that's such a hard mix too, because I mean, shit can happen in like a 2 seconds. Like in college, I never had that. When I came to 𝗂𝗏𝗃, like I had this like, kids group, and it was all ages. Like it was from like I had like an 11-year-old all the way to like a 22-year-old in a group. And, I was, coaching, everybody was looking good, and then I have someone's touching the bar. Don't touch that. No, stop touching that. Nate, don't, no, put that down. And then you're like turning and looking head on a swivel. Someone's hanging off the pull-up bar, the band's stuck on their foot. And you're like, oh my gosh, like how, like at college, and you don't have to worry about that because their cognitive development is there, right? Like when you give them instruction, they're pretty good at following instruction unless, they just didn't pay attention. But most people, bring them up to speed. But things happen so fast. And with that mix, so the system I use is like if I have a new kid jumping in a training session, and this is where I also like to build leadership still, even in the setting that I'm in now, is what did as I will always say, like, show him what I just showed you.
Yeah.
Can you walk him through that? Okay. Yep. And then all of a sudden, they're actually feeling what it's like to, one, be in your shoes, but also you have an extra coach kind of on the floor that's able to help, navigate. You have a leadership, you have some type of like, they're instilling a teamwork, some type of behavior where, oh, okay, well, I can help. They feel empowered because you're giving them opportunity, which that's what you want. Like, I want a session to run when I'm not there. Like I should be able to walk out of the session and everything be ran as if I was there.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where, I want them to feel empowered. I want them to feel like they have ownership in what they're doing, because that's the best training effect, right? You don't want robots. You want them thinking and feeling and moving. And, what's the difference between moving a bar slow and moving a bar fast? What is the difference between ground contact on the floor and, sprinting? Like, can you feel the difference? So I think, like you said, like that mix, I always like to, tell someone, hey, take them through what I just took you through. Can you do that? And then they're like, yeah, I got you, Stich. And then, if they forget something, they're like, oops, I forgot to tell them how to put collars on the bar. Like, it's okay. We're good. You got him to the bar. You spotted him. You taught him how to spot. We're in a good place. So, and that's kind of like an aha moment for them too, when a coach actually like trusts them to help someone else out, or like you're giving them responsibility in the weight room, which I think is a huge transfer to sport in general. It allows them to feel like they have ownership on the court or field or track, and they have a way to like voice it.
That's one thing I did, that we're seeing a lot more too. And ever since, I kind of set our groups up into, hey, this is our veteran group and this is our newcomer group. And that's one thing when I talk to the group, everybody together, I tell my older kids, hey, I'm expecting you to help these younger guys out. These younger kids, take them under the wing. Show, if you see something, help them with it. If you help them with it, if you think they need to, even if you think they need to lighten the weight, tell them to lighten the weight. Maybe they're not doing something right. Don't be afraid to correct them. And then it's telling the newcomers, hey, if these older kids are telling you to do something, listen to them.
Listen.
Right.
Yep.
So it's also not necessarily, hey, be good teachers, but also respect these other kids that have gone through the process. We see that a lot now. One thing I do also is, I'll put us in our warm-up lines, or, sometimes we do station warm-ups where, everybody's got this row of racks and we just do warm-ups at the racks, right? Say we're doing lunges, or air squats is a good one. I'll pick one kid, hey, take command of the group, and they'll down, up, one. They'll control the count, they'll control the cadence, control the group. And sometimes they'll be quiet about it. Sometimes they'll be, they'll kind of let things slide a little bit. I'm like, hey man, take control of command them to do what you want them to do. And they're like, well, what do you mean? Just like, tell them, like, tell them what to do and they'll do it. Hopefully, for the most part, command the group, control the group. And then we'll do another exercise. Hey, you control the group this time. You control the group this time. You be the leader. So giving everybody an opportunity to be a leader, and practice that. You can practice being leaders. And that's one thing I think that a lot of coaches may not understand or expect or see or actively work on, it is put your kids in a position to actually lead somebody, put them in a position to control what is happening. And it goes back to what you said, giving ownership of the workout, ownership of the warm-up, ownership of what it is that we're doing that day. Kind of it helps create buy-in and create culture and create leadership. So that's you know, a big one that we've started implementing here lately. So because we're at a point where we can do that now. Earlier we couldn't do it because it'd be, you know, it wouldn't be that serious. It couldn't take it that serious, you know. So now we're in a position to create leaders as opposed to finding leaders, I guess, you know. So
Gotcha. For us, you know, with Athlete Builder, there's 6 core values to kind of guide our mindset. You know, we start with integrity. So if I see something in the gym with the athlete and they're acting with integrity, I point that out. And I'll say, hey, integrity is a core value. So it reinforces. So if you ask Jim what we're going to be about, if you ask what Athlete Builder is going to be about, you know, there's 6 core values and it starts with integrity. So that's us. And I'm pushing that onto someone else, the other athletes. They might not like that one. So if you ask anybody and they're at their core and they say, like, who are you here for the most? They're going to say they're here for themselves. They care about themselves the most, right? Like, I care about myself the most if I'm training in the gym, right? I'm trying to get myself better. Also, if I get my teammates better, it will then get me. So if I talk about integrity being a core value, I have to then apply it as how it applies to that person all the time. And here's why, if you act with integrity, here's how it helps you. Here's how it makes you better. In the athlete builder world, we're talking about building athletes mentally and physically, and say, you know, when we're doing the training, we're lifting, we'll say, hey, there's a piece, you know, one of the pieces is knowledge of your sport, knowledge of how to train, blah, blah, blah. And when we don't know something, we're working on, say, hey, this is that knowledge component where if we can improve here, you just elevate it as an athlete. Or with you, Stich, you talk about nutrition. If we can improve here in nutrition, it's going to elevate you as an athlete. So you got to keep tying back what our pillars are for pushing athletes forward, and I tie it to them so they get it over and over and over again. And if I can have them teach someone else, I'm going to say, don't be like, well, why do I got to teach? This is your job. I said, well, if you can teach it, then you know it better. So you'll actually be smarter. So your knowledge component goes up. If you can teach someone else, now you're leading. So your teamwork component goes up. So I tie it back to them all the time. So to your point, at some point, if someone's like mouthing off or whatever, the other kid would turn to him and say, hey, we don't do that here. It's one thing for dad to legislate with my kids at home. It's one thing for the coach to legislate. But eventually they get it because it ties to them. Because that kid knows, hey, we don't do that here, because it slows them down. They only have so much time. And they're trying to be great. And that person that's screwing around just cost the teammates that are willing to work. It just costs them time. It costs them results. So I keep tying it back to them over and over again. And that's why they're saying, hey, we don't do that here, because some of these kids are competitive, right? So if I can build culture, you know, mindset-wise, we have our 6 core values. And then the athlete builder model, we have 3 things for the head and 3 for the body. I'm always pointing out, here, well, here's a shortcoming here, buddy. If we can fix this, you're improved. And that's basically how we do it. We've been going for quite a while on that one piece. I did want to touch on one more thing. It's not just, you know, lifting and eating well. In a lot of sports now, more than back in the day, because now you even have girls playing flag football, but in lacrosse, but in soccer, there's tons of concussions. And not for nothing, we had Dr. Como on. She's kind of hard shoes to follow, and when this is the lady that advises the NFL, right? But there's some things you can do to, you know, prepare for things. Just awareness, even just being more rested gives your reaction time to be better, so you'll be in the better position, so you're a little less likely to have a bad collision. But talk about recovering from concussions, Stich. And Luke, let's hear your thoughts on it as well, because you played a contact sport at running back, right? And I've seen him run with his head down, right? Right through people and around. But, you know, let's just get through this, and let's not spend an hour doing it, but let's get through it. And just, I want to make sure that we cover this, because this is an important topic and you guys are pretty good at what you do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the biggest thing is you can be like proactive in taking care of your brain, like taking omegas, omega 3s, taking creatine, doing neck work. And I know Lucas and I were going to touch on that is just like, what ways can you, prevent, maybe not just like proactively take care of your brain health. The other big piece is a lot of kids will not report headaches. They won't report dizziness because they know it's going to affect playing time. So they'll say, nah, I'm good. Like it'll be fine, but they'll have headaches for months and not tell anybody. Well, that's a big piece of recovery is being able to tell someone like, hey, I have headaches and I don't know, they've been lasting a while. Okay, go get evaluated, because the earlier that you can get evaluated, okay, which is what I'm in the role now is a schedule appointment, you go and see a neurologist, and then there's return to play protocols. There's way to make sure that you're returning safely back to your sport instead of jeopardizing your brain. And that can be jeopardizing reaction time. That could be, it's serious. It's something that you don't see, but there's things that happen that you can't explain. And a lot of people don't realize like that's not normal. It's something that you do need to make sure that you take seriously. And that's something that we're building up here at the University Hospital is because the concussion program is important, and we want to push getting early care, seeing someone right away. It won't affect playing time if we can get it evaluated, get the right steps, whether that's getting creatine, it might be a headache medication of some sort. You may be doing some more neck work with your strength coach, more shrugs, more building up the traps, upper back, things that can support the neck structure. Sleeping, making sure they're actually sleeping, eating. That's another thing. All of these areas concussion touch because your brain touches all of them. Your brain is your center for sleep. It's your appetite control. It's your cortisol. It's all of these. And so that can all be destroyed by one impact in the head and then letting it linger. Your recovery can actually take longer, and you can have more long-term effects versus get evaluated, take the proper steps, and then try to get implemented into your return to play as quickly and as safely as possible.
Okay. Nice. What do you think, Luke?
Yeah, so, it's funny because in high school, I used to get, headaches all the time playing football. Nothing that lingered on, or, I'd have a tough game and, I'd have a headache for a little bit and, never thought anything of it, never thought to go talk to the trainer about it. It wasn't until college where, I didn't get hit very hard any particular time that I can remember where I was like, man, I got a concussion. But it was one day at practice where I couldn't see out of my right side of my eye. I couldn't see anything at all. It was like gray, it was fuzzy, and I saw like rainbow stripes cutting through my vision. So I couldn't look at couldn't focus on anything, couldn't see anything near, and it wasn't any big hits. I think it was just a accumulation of a lot of hits over and over and over. We started using guardian caps, and I didn't think the guardian caps helped at all. I actually think the guardian, what guardian caps are?
Yep.
I'm assuming.
Yep.
I kind of thought the guardian caps made it worse because they were bouncier. They had more recoil for me. Yeah, that's what I thought. Because I didn't start having that kind of stuff happen until we started using guardian caps. So I'm interested to see what your thoughts are on that. Also, everywhere I've ever been, strength and condition wise, everybody talks, and we always focused on doing neck work, doing shrugs, upper back, like you said. And I just, everybody, every year, somebody gets a concussion. Everywhere I've ever been. So yeah. I'm just curious on, how much neck work is going to actually prevent anything, if any neck work at all, upper back, trap, whatever. I just don't know. So I'm curious because I don't know if it's actually can prevent it at any amount of measurable
severity.
Yeah. No, those are good points. I will say this, everybody is different. Like a concussion, if one gets one, everybody's concussion is different. Their symptoms are different. It affects them differently. neck work, there is research there, and doing it, if I had football players coming in 3 days a week, they do neck work every day, but all in different planes. So I think a big piece of it is range of motion of the neck, like just keeping the range of motion of the neck, not getting to where it's just like you don't want your athletes to be too stiff or too mobile, right? You want to find that tweener balance, because at either end of the spectrum increases their risk of injury. So I think the biggest thing, and this is just personal opinion with, a little bit of research backing, is yes, there is research that supports neck strength decreases chances of concussion. Does it eliminate it? No. Depends on the hit, depends on the angle, depends on the kid, depends on body weight, depends on body composition. I mean, there's so many things. Did they sleep? There's so many factors that, could affect if they get one or not. But the supporting structure of the neck, absolutely, like them being able to brace a force, them being able to, if they are getting hit by the side, that they can actually, that neck strength keeps them aligned. It's just like any other muscle in the body that we train. And I mean, even in sports, like, how you can learn, you get taught how to take a hit. So like in basketball for us, it was how do you take a charge without your neck hitting the ground, like your back of your head hitting the court? Well, you tuck your chin, you brace the charge, like you're getting taught it. So on top of, we didn't do neck work in basketball, but that was something that made us stronger, because it was something that we knew, like if we hit our head on the court, like that's a higher risk of concussion, right? And it's not gonna feel good. So it's yes to strengthening. Usually the kids that come in that play football that I train, we do an iso neck, we do an eccentric neck, we do your basic four-way, we do quadruped neck, we do lying neck, we do all different styles of neck to help with the structure of like whether they're standing, whether, they took a hit while they were on their knees and they collapsed, just giving them the ability to understand, like, my neck does move this way because sometimes you don't know which way your neck can move until you find out the hard way. But putting them in those ranges of motion allows them to feel like, oh, okay, like I see what we're getting at, like rotating and, bracing core, using core work too with the neck. So yes, long answer, 100% would definitely do neck, just, all planes. There is research backing. Now, I'm not going to guarantee that's going to eliminate all concussions. You're still probably going to have one or two. And I think that also is the training status of the athlete, nutrition, and then just honestly, their ability, like they're training in sport too. Like if they've only played the sport for 5 years compared to you have a vet that's played it for 12. Those are all different things that are out of your control when it comes to, concussions, because like I said, it affects everybody differently.
I think there's a couple basic principles, like 𝗬𝗎 would say, no weaknesses anywhere. So might as well train my neck and back, right?
Yep.
Even Chad Coy, whose ears go right to his shoulders, okay, or Joe Ken, and they played football, right? If you hit him with someone who's running a 4.4, and the guy's he's 12 yards in, he's pretty close to top end speed, right? And you get hit in the head, like, it doesn't matter that you're that strong, you're still going to get hurt, right? A little bit. I come back to a lot of your reaction time will put your head in a better spot. Like if I'm exhausted and I'm driving home, and someone cuts me off, I'm slow to react. If I'm exhausted and it's Friday night and I got problems at home, parents are screaming at me, and I got problems with my girlfriend, and I'm stressed out, and I haven't slept well, and it's finals week, but I got this game Friday night and I'm tired, right? And sometimes you got to drive to that game first,
Yep.
So then, hey, reaction time's a little slower. You're not in the position you thought you were going to be in that moment. You take a hit because you're tired and fatigued. So everything matters there, and at the higher levels, it matters more. One of my old colleagues back in the day when I was in the financial world, this guy named Phil, he played for Notre Dame, and he was the walk-on quarterback for options, but he also played some DB, and so a bit undersized but very fast. And so this is way back in the day, Urban Meyer is actually the DB coach at Notre Dame, and Phil's playing for him. And there's a running play, and the guard is pulling around the end, and the running back's right behind the guard. And Phil, the D is a DB, sheds the wide receiver as the blocker. So now he has to take on the guard and try to get to the running back. So here comes 300 pounds of I'm gonna kill you, right? Running full speed at 180-pound Phil, right? Phil gets hit so hard when he's falling backwards, his feet leave the ground, his legs are horizontal with the ground, his arms are horizontal with the ground, and he's just floating through the air because the guy hit him right underneath his pads. So you take all his speed with a 500 bench all at once and launch poor Phil. Phil lands on his back and his head bounces, and when he gets up, like Luke said, he couldn't see. His one eye was looking straight, and the other eye looking off in a different direction, like not even lined up, right? So he's like freaked out, and Urban comes over to him and takes a look at him. He looks at him, and he goes over and grabs another big guy and tells him what to do. And the other guy comes over to Phil, grabs him by the face mask and headbutts him on the side where the eye was looking to move the eye back to where it needed to go, and it worked, and it worked. So he got an extra headbutt just to realign his eye, and then
Oh
he's like,
my God.
all right, go see a trainer, you know. And so I don't know. Phil probably killed me for telling that story, but he did, man. And I was like, oh wow, as you know, oh well,
Dislocated eyeball.
you're a walk on and you're an asset. So we need to get this fixed, and that's how we do it. I know I want to be respectful of your time. I know you're busy. You're coaching tons of people, and so just want to just wrap up a couple other things. First, great thanks for being on. These rapid fire questions. I think we're going to be changing these after we pass episode 100 because we'll be at the century mark, and we're in the 90s right now. We're going to keep a whole bunch of these, but real quick, one line answers. When you're training and it's a heavy lift. It's heavy. It's a 1 rep max back squat or 3 or something. That's going to crush your soul. What are you listening to?
I like your hype. Like we're talking Travis Scott. There's a couple hype songs there that get me right. Meek Mill will get me right. There's a little bit of I like to, and this might come from my basketball background, but anything that can get you in that dance mode, like, but in a hype way. I know there's like dance where it's like goofy, but like dance when it's hype, like swag dancing, like swag hype is what I would say. I'm like, I look good by Charlie Boy. Like that stuff would get me, that would get me right.
All right. Luke, how about you? 1 rep max back squat. Let's get all wrecked. Let's go. You're on mute, buddy.
Uh-oh.
I stand alone, Godsmack.
All right.
Okay.
All right. 𝗀𝗀𝗶𝗹 by Kid Rock for me.
Okay. Nice. Very old Kid Rock fan. One of the best concerts I've ever been to.
Nice. Bucket list adventure you haven't been on yet, and it's just you and I think you said you're married, right? Or engaged.
Yep.
You and your husband.
Kentucky Derby.
I've been 3 times. It's outstanding.
Ugh. Jealous.
I've been a couple times when it wasn't even Derby day, like on a Wednesday or a Thursday before Saturday. Also outstanding. Super fun.
Yeah, I want to go. It's been on my bucket list forever.
Page 49 of my book, Rich Strike in 2022, that big comeback where he ran 18th and came all the way around. Luke, how about you?
Me and Kaylin have talked about going to Japan.
Japan.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
For Jen and me, next will probably be Yellowstone. Sporting event, maybe track and field nationals over in Oregon.
Oh.
Favorite sports movie, Stitch?
Cool Runnings. Coach Carter.
Bobsled?
Bobsled.
All right. There's so many good ones. You go comedy. Or
Coach
you can go,
Carter, to remember the Titans.
Serious, right?
Yeah.
That one's always said. Yep.
All the good ones.
How about you, Luke?
I don't really have a favorite one. Maybe The Blind Side.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Right. I was getting ready to do the swim last weekend, so I watched Rocky. So if I had to pick one, probably Rocky.
Oh.
If I had to pick a fun one, it would be Major League for sure.
Oh, okay.
Being from Cleveland, you got to.
Yep.
Favorite
My husband's
sport?
from Cleveland.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Awesome. I'll have to talk to him. What's your favorite sport to watch, Stich?
Football.
What's your favorite athlete in any sport, living or dead?
Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Yep. I know it's a classic, but it's a classic for a reason.
Yep. Luke?
LaDainian Tomlinson.
Bang. So football and LaDainian?
Yep. He's my favorite. I used to love. I mean, that's based what that's who I envisioned myself being in high school.
Nice Hall of Fame running back. For me, it'd be football, but as close as the Olympics and rugby. Favorite athlete's Jordan. Just relentless.
Yep.
Favorite book.
Ooh, The Alchemist, and Motivation Manifesto.
Nice.
I feel like that's not a common one people read. It's really good.
Okay. Luke.
𝗫𝗫CA CSCS Study Manual. Just kidding.
Oh, yeah, for real.
Great Gatsby.
Oh, wow. Okay. Fiction would be Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged would be my favorite. Atlas Shrugged. I'd be remiss if I didn't say the Bible. Nonfiction. Probably Atomic Habits.
Ooh, I love that one too.
Favorite superhero. Stitch.
I can't pick one. I feel like I'm a Marvel's girl though. Marvel's versus DC. I have to choose Marvel's characters because I can't choose one. They're all.
Can't choose one.
I would like to have the power of all of them combined, like Thor, Black Panther, Iron Man.
So greedy.
I know. I feel like that needs to be.
Can't make do.
I wish. Okay, how about this? Anti-hero, Venom, hands down.
Okay. Tom Hardy version, or you read the comic books?
Both. They've both been.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Luke?
Oh, growing up, Spider-Man, but these days it's more Iron Man.
Ooh.
Gotcha. I guess my favorite guy would be Wolverine. And then villain for me, not in the comic books, Hannibal Lecter.
Okay.
Silence of the Lambs. Darth Vader's number 2. How about you, Stitch? Favorite villain?
Oh, Joker.
Yeah,
because you know what? He's not wrong all the time.
No? You got a favorite villain, Luke?
I got a favorite villain, A1 and A2.
Let's hear
Darth Vader and Palpatine.
Nice. Those two are just, man, vicious. What's your favorite lift?
Oh. I have to go with a leg lift, so it's going to have to be, love me a good back squat, heavy back squat day, good heavy deadlift. I'd have to say back squat or deadlift. I can't choose between the two. If my back's feeling good, I'll say deadlift.
Luke?
Snatch.
Oh, rough.
So technical.
Yes. I wish that could be my favorite lift.
I do not.
I do not.
I do not. Nah.
So cool.
It is cool.
It is cool. Yeah, very cool.
It's very cool. For me, it'd be back squat because I think that makes me the most nervous. Atlas Stones would be number 2.
Ooh.
And then
That's a good one.
3 would be sled push. Because it's more than just a lift. It's multiple steps and it's just pain.
Mm-hmm.
Got a good quote because there's so many good ones.
Be the change you wish to see in the world. Gandhi.
Luke?
Mine is not inspirational cool at all. It's Just Dig It by Joe Dirt.
Dig it, bro.
Dig it.
What's wrong with
I
that?
dig it.
Most coaches, most like people they got a really awesome quote and just dig it,
One James, be thankful for the struggle for what creates perseverance.
That's what I'm saying. That I just don't have one like that. I just got Just Dig It.
That's all right.
It's okay.
What's wrong with dig it?
Yeah.
Stitch, where can people find you?
Well, I'm in Columbia, Missouri, and I am at 𝗫𝗍ci Speed School, which is at the Missouri Athletic Center. I'm also at MU Healthcare. So you'll be able to pull me up on the MU website there for the concussion program coordinator. And I also own my own sports nutrition company, which is Fuel Performance Nutrition. So you can find me there. But most of the time, if you need to hit me up, you could probably look up on Instagram at 𝗀𝗱𝗃 or under my Fuel Performance Nutrition. I don't do too much social media, so a good old email or using any of my emails that are out there right now is probably the best way, and then we can go from there.
Gotcha. For those who want to get a hold of us, athlete-builder.com. And email us, info@athlete-builder.com. We're on all the social media sites. And shout out to our listening audience. If you have some ideas for our rapid fire questions at the end of our episodes, send them this way. We're taking on some new ideas. We're going to keep a bunch of these old ones, but we might evolve it a little bit, take it in a different direction. It might be what's your favorite food or something like that. But you got something like that, help contribute to the show. We want to hear from it, but also send us your questions. Keep those coming in for us and for our guests. So, Stich, great having you on. Had a great time. I'm glad it finally happened.
Yes.
Learned a lot today. Nice choice on picking a Cleveland guy. You're obviously going to be well suited and well taken care of for the rest of your life. That's got to be the case.
He reminds me of that every day.
Oh, attaboy.
With the old OH. Give me the OH. Oh, gosh.
That's right.
Oh, gosh. It pains me. I'm a Broncos fan, so I have to live with the Brownies, which is just unfortunate.
Those 80s AFC Championship games with the drive, the fumble.
Yes.
The three of them that they lost is just forever, ever scarred. I was in grade school when that happened. That's part of my identity, childhood. Just the psychological downfall. Just all those kids of that generation. Thanks to John Elway being outstanding. So, great having you on. Thanks for all the help today, Stich.
Yeah, thank you guys. You guys are awesome. Appreciate it.
We'll see you.
Bye.